Hello YouTube, this is Creator Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm just here to talk about, this is kind of a one-shot, one-take sort of rant, I guess, if you will. This is about the design and concepts of Six Samurai and why I think that the deck can never be good again, fundamentally, due to the way that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gone in recent years. So the main thing about the deck is when this deck came out back in Storm of Ragnarok, um, it had Shien, it had Dojo, all that jazz, and it was spamming you, looping you, FDKs, so on and so forth. Well, I guess it didn't have FDKs back then, but my point is that the deck was really good. Dojo was a busted card. It got banned for however many years. And now, fast forward to current year, we have, Dojo's legal again, and we even have a searcher for it out of the extra deck, which is pretty crazy. But the problem with Six Samurai, I think, as a whole, is that it suffers from two major problems. And one of it is not so much of a problem, more so as it is a design flaw of the game itself, as it's evolved into modern years. So the first problem with it is that it has very little room for non-engine. Due to the way that all the cards are designed, everything spams everything, is kind of like a free summon extender. You have red blue loops, you have Chien, you have Kizan, Grandmaster. However, that isn't enough these days. You can't just put a bunch of monsters out on the board and expect everything to stick, especially because everything is so dependent on at least one monster sticking that if you stop that first monster, like you say you Ghost Ogre or it gets popped or something, you're stuck in Shit's Creek without a paddle because you can't really extend from that typically without expending more of your hand. Secondly, the main problem is that Gateway as a card, for it to be legal, the rest of the deck kind of needs to suck. And that is fundamentally where the problem lies and why the deck cannot be good again. The deck itself is sort of almost built around the card existing, at least in the modern era, anyway. The Link Master of the God, Great General of the Six Samurai, is built in such a very explicit way that yes, you can get to Dojo or Gateway, excuse me. However, this comes at the cost of a lot of your hand. And if you don't have, an exact, set of extenders or something that builds counters beforehand or so on, you're not going to be able to start resolving your combos very easily. And therein lies the problem, is that the deck is very susceptible to hand traps, and it doesn't matter how much extension Dojo gives you, is if you get stopped early on before you get to Dojo, then the deck can't really function. And even if Dojo was at 3 and you had a better chance of hard drawing it, that still does present some issues. For example, Droll would be very harsh against this deck if you don't get, like, say, a Kizan into the grave early on, or you don't get red-blue loops going. And even then, you're still very much stuck with that, and there's not really much you can do from that position. But I guess generally the point I'm trying to make here is that in order for Six Samurai to be good, either Dojo has to be banned again, or the game has to be in such a starry state where things can go first uninterrupted most games. Because there's so much hand traps and interruption going first these days, doing infinite loops and all that sort of stuff with Dojo and these cards just isn't feasible anymore. Like, it doesn't matter how consistent the deck is if the deck can't do it through at least some form of interruption consistently. And that therein lies the exact problem that the deck has. It's like, it has Pot of Greed, it has summon anything for the deck, add anything for the deck, it has all these crazy cards and spells like Dojo and Gateway and United, but for what? All it can really do is go first and pray it doesn't get irrelevant, and then okay, you win the game. But there's so many other decks that can do that, but better and with a lot more resilience. And because of this, the deck also can't go second at all, really. Like, maybe you get lucky and you draw red-blue and you can maybe start popping their cards a couple times, and maybe that gets you somewhere, but overall the deck really struggles to go second, I think, by design. so that even if you know, you do have your gateway and all that stuff, like, it's not gonna matter. The deck is built in such a way that for it to be good, it can't be good in the form that it used to be in. Dojo, as crazy as a card as it is, or excuse me, Gateway, as crazy of a card as it is, I keep mixing those cards up, they're both really good, but as crazy of a card as Gateway is it's not enough to carry the deck anymore because the rest of the deck around it is not good, but that is by design. You can really see this when they gave the Secret Six Samurai cards a chance, because you look at them and it's all a lot of normal summons. There's no extension. You have, like, Shadow of the Six Samurai, or Legendary Secret, excuse me. You have that, which is like a summon if you summon a Secret Six Samurai, but again, that's just another Kizan, really. And then you have the one that, oh, it sends a Six Samurai from deck to grave every time you summon a Six Samurai, but for what? There's no Graveyard Six Samurai payoff. You have the fusion, which is, oh cool, this is a banish, but it's not really good interruption. It doesn't do much outside of that. Like, yeah, it was good in Duel Links, but so were a lot of decks that weren't good in the TCG, and that's not my point here. And Duel Links also, again, doesn't have Gateway, which is why it's kind of allowed to function the way it is, or the way it did. It's not good anymore, but I cope and pretend it is. Generally speaking, I think that for the deck to be good again, it would need to get support that, you know, actually does something. It would need to get something like a Kizan card that says, oh, if you control a Six Samurai, special summon this, and then do X. It gives you some sort of advantage, either maybe gives you a search, or maybe another summon from your hand. That would be nice. Obviously, we would have to have a lot of hard once per turns, but, like, with the way it's designed, with, like, a lot of shit not having hard once per turns, and Dojo and Gateway being crazy cards as they are, the deck just, it's not allowed to be good anymore because of those cards, because of the way the deck is designed fundamentally. And I think if Six Samurai ever was good again, I think that would be a very bad thing, because either the deck loses its identity of what it was before, or the deck is in, or the game rather, is in such a sorry state that they can go first and they can FTK you, which is also not good. This was just a short little rant that I wanted to put together. I didn't really have much of a point with this. I just wanted to, you know, do something kind of cool. But if you know, if you guys like this, if you want to see more content like this, you know, please let me know in the comments. And I will see you next time. This is the first time I'm doing commentary on this channel, so stay tuned. I might do more stuff like this if there's topics I want to rant about and just do, you know, single take musings and ramblings about it. But I'll see you next time.